Then welcome to the session Run Fit to Standard workshops with SAP Cloud ALM. Welcome from the process product management for process management team, my colleague Michael and me, Daniel. In the next 45 minutes, we're going to give you some insights on what the solution covers, show some functionality, and give some outlook to new functionality here and there. Let's start with an overview on the process management part of Cloud ALM. Mainly it consists of 4 applications. First major application is the application for scoping. No? No. Sorry? I mean, I know the slides. But could you check for? Okay, that fits to what I'm saying. Great. Thank you very much. First main application is the application for scoping. That is the application where you define your project scope, where as well you basically have the connection to our best practice provider tenant. That is in the background, so basically based on, for example, a DDA or a manual selection, you can, in this application, select your processes you want to implement in your project. Second is the process management app. That is, so to say, the app then giving you the capabilities of detailing the processes, executing a fit-to-standard workshop, capturing requirements, and basically preparing the processes for implementation. Of course, there can be the case that you say one or the other process does not fit our needs, or even in the a lot of processes we provide, there is not a one fitting at all, so you might want to create your own processes from scratch. That is what you can do in the process authoring app. And last but not least, and let's say quite new to the family, is the process hierarchy app. That is the app where you can create a process hierarchy or even multiple hierarchies to organize your processes according to your company needs, basically reflecting your company structure. Just to give you some background where we are at with the process management, you see some numbers. This morning, I think there was a slide already. We are now at 200,000 processes. Basically, that is from the first half year where we had 185,000 processes. And what is really nice to see, so it's really ramping up the usage of the process management. So around 40% of the overall processes got scoped first half year this year, and similar it looks with the scope processes in the custom area, about 40% that got ramped up. Processes in CALM process management, one important thing to know or to have in mind, CALM is based according to the enterprise architecture methodology of SAP, which means clear framework of objects that reflect the business structure of processes, of capabilities, and on the other side, the solution structure of processes, capabilities, and activities. So basically, the opposite of the business view, the implementation view, how a business process got implemented. Out of that, what do we have in Cloud ALM is mainly the solution process. That is the overall object that consists on the one side of business process elements, solution process flow charts, so to say, more covering a high-level end-to-end view. And on the other side, then the solution process flow diagrams can be one or multiple that are either organized in the sequence, can as well reflect variants of a solution process flow, basically. Down into the diagrams, we have the single activities and of course, according to the BPMN methodology, then the connection points. Now, let's go a little bit into more detail. Fit to standard workshops in Cloud ALM. I think a lot of you might be familiar with the sub-activate methodology, so consisting of the 6 phases of discover, prepare, explore phase, realize, deploy, which is a cutover phase, and then the run phase. With the fit to standard workshops, you are typically in the first 2 phases of an implementation project. In the prepare phase, where you typically build up your structure based on a DDA, based on a bigger phase to figure out what kind of processes and structure your company need, and solutions as well. You, in the prepare phase, go and scope your processes. You as well prepare your process hierarchy before you then go into the fit to standard workshops along the processes. So, first step, as mentioned, is the process scoping. And this is done in the scoping app, where you have on the one side the solution scenarios coming from the best practices that you can pull into your scoping. Second, as mentioned, you can pull in custom process you create via copy, and basically based on that, create one or multiple scopes for one or multiple dedicated projects. Just to give you an idea, what is the content you can look at there? We have above 2,000 processes coming from basically all the solution teams, delivering, mainly of course for our big products as for private and public cloud, which make up already 1,200 of these processes, but then coming more into play the other solutions like integrated business planning, Ariba, SuccessFactors, and so on. We have as well our big end-to-end processes from the intelligent enterprise available there, and just recently and now coming more and more as well, industry-specific processes like, for example, from the oil and gas. So that is basically the repository you can access through the scoping and pull in the processes you need for your project. Second topic in the prepare phase is building the process hierarchy. And that is done in the process hierarchy app, where you basically have the ability to either create a process hierarchy via an upload or create the process hierarchy, so to say, step by step. What is quite nice, you are limited to one header node. You can have multiple header nodes, which means you can give a process hierarchy multiple dimensions. You can, for example, create one process hierarchy under a header node for end-to-end processes, another one for modular processes. Some customers even create a system hierarchy, something like that. The objects that you are able to link to the process hierarchy basically can have a multi-assignment as well, so that each of the objects then can, for example, be part of an end-to-end process as well as be part of a modular process, something like that. When you created your process hierarchy and assigned the objects, there's another app available, which is the analytics app for process hierarchy. And this gives you the overview what is all linked. So basically making the process hierarchy a central place to structure your elements in your project. Third step then, and now we are basically in the explore phase, is going into details and walking through the processes. So basically, in the process management, you right away have the capability to go through the processes with then, for example, your consultant team, with your process owner team, with the teams from business and IT, walk through the processes, capture requirements right away. The requirements then can right away be basis for user stories, tasks, basically whatever comes up in the workshops you can capture right away in the solution. one topic to mention in regards to the requirements, and one session I wanna point out is a session afterwards by my colleague Sinje, basically creating requirements based on notes from a workshop with AI, basically reducing this task. And with that, I would like to go into the system, hoping that that comes up now right away, and show you how it looks in the system. So basically what you see here is a project that is prepared, that is, so to say, currently with the typical phases of discover, prepare, explore, realize, and deploy. You see we are about to close the prepare phase, now short before explore. In general, what you see as well here, basically, that already one scope is created. So, and what we want to do now is enhancing the scope. So imagine you maybe have some topics where you say, yes, we want to look at them in the fit to standard workshops, but let's say maybe we later on decide if we really put them in the first release or we want to put them later. So I create another scope entry for the enhanced scope, and I select the solution scenario for public cloud edition, as this is what I basically want to do in my project. And I'm gonna go save. And with that, I now have tied the solution scenario to my scope, making out of the tenant in the background, so to say, the processes available for me to do now the detailed process scoping. And that's what I want to do. And I go there, for example, with processes from demand. And I could now either go through and select the processes one by one. What we have available since, I think around 2 weeks, is now a mass maintenance functionality, which basically gives you the opportunity, if you, for example, have dedicated processes of a business area, of one solution, of, coming to that in a minute, of people being responsible or so, you can select them by the filters, you know, basically from Fiori, can go mass edit, check the scope state, and basically scope the processes that are in your list. And with that, the scoping task is done. So now, just to give you an overview, and there it goes. We now have basically the two scopes, so to say, the one we just created, and the one down here that basically is now our enhanced scope. We might want to look at already in these fit to standard workshops, but decide on later. Now, second topic is the process hierarchy. Basically, you can access it right away out of the process app. And this is the first app I was talking about. This is the app where you define your process hierarchy. So basically, where you set up the structure you want to use, either from an upload or by doing it manual. And what you see here basically is, let's say, 2 or even multiple different top nodes defined, one for end-to-end processes, one for modular processes, and that is now the basis for you to assign the single objects. What I just want to point out, another nice feature for people uploading their process hierarchy, we now have an advanced, so to say, deletion functionality. Who knows the app already? Before you had to go one by one. Now you can delete even full trees, so to say, out of the forest. And with that, let's assign one process, for example, this material requirements planning process, to the process hierarchy. I'm now in the header of the solution process, and you see beside general information and so on, I have here a tab where I can assign the process hierarchy nodes. And from here, basically, for example, I can go and say, okay, that belongs to procurement. And you see now, out of the, so to say, tree structure that got built up, 2 processes appear. And for example, for this process, I want to say both of them are should be part of the process, or the process should be part of both hierarchies. When you assigned all your processes to the process hierarchy, you can check and basically utilize the hierarchy in the process hierarchy assignments app, which is in the cross-projects analytics area. And this gives you then the overview of like basically which kind of objects are assigned to the hierarchy. Similar structure as the app for creating the process hierarchy, but here you can basically then go right away into details. Now it comes, and see the processes that are assigned. You can as well navigate further now, going into the processes and, for example, utilizing solution process traceability and so on out of that. So the process hierarchy becoming more and more, so to say, the central structure of the not only processes, but the objects you can organize your company around. Now, we want to look at one process in detail. Imagine we want to do now a fit to standard workshop. And 2 topics I want to point out there is new functionality we have in regards on the header. One is the process owner. That is now a user you can assign there as a process owner, as a responsibility, integrated to the UAM of Cloud ALM, so that it's basically made sure when somebody leaves the company, the name doesn't appear anymore. Second topic that gives you another opportunities to structure your processes is the tag management that is implemented. And basically, you can with that as well give the processes, for example, a context like ALM Summit, something like that. What you see as well, and that is as well, the idea of that is to grow, is processes come with tags. So for example, you might know still the solution scenario for 2-tier in the public cloud environment. That will be taken out of the content, and the content can be identified then by the tag, basically reduces duplication of processes. And these are tags then as well that come with the process but cannot be maintained. And now, basically, would be the time where you go into the process detail, where you go with your consultant, walk through the single process steps. As well, of course, have a look at the system. Want to point out there that basically, unfortunately, not for today, but shortly, first, so to say, integration to the libraries that you can see in a later session in detail by my colleague Axel, will be visible on the process level as well. So we start with the application library, visualization in the first step, but then extending to configuration development libraries, so that overall dimension will get bigger and bigger. And in here, basically, is then the place, so to say, when you walk through the system, where you can right away say, okay, I want to, for example, create a requirement, and for example, say, okay, consider, and now let's put that. So consider our minimum order quantities that we have in the company that we, so to say, need to be considered in the calculation of the MRP run. Now that you basically have all the requirements captured, this is a typical part where didn't want to do that, sorry. Where the fit to standard workshop closes, where you have all the configuration, development, and so on requirements captured along the processes. And with that, so to say, I would hand over to my colleague for showing you how to create a custom process.
Okay, everything's set up. Welcome everyone, also from my side. My name is Michael Buse. I'm the product owner for the process offering in SAP Cloud ALM for implementation. Take over here the second part. Thanks a lot, Daniel, for the nice presentation. Let's directly start. So we all want to follow the SAP best practices, yeah, for sure. But this does not fit 100% for all the customers and all the partners, yeah? There are some customers who have specific industry needs, others have organizational demands, yeah? So they need to adapt the SAP best practices. And therefore, we have the process offering in SAP Cloud ALM, the home of the custom solution processes. And we concentrate here on three main pillars in the process offering. The first one is the creation and the management of the custom processes. So you can really model a BPMN diagram from scratch, but you could also easily import models from an external source and change the diagram or do the BPMN modeling of this diagram directly in our tool. What's also specific is that you can specify the custom solution processes with more process information as country versions, accelerators, tags, and so on, which can be used in your implementation projects. The second big pillar is the adaptation of the SAP best practices. So we can copy a best practice process coming from the processes app in the SAP Cloud ALM over into the process offering and change then the diagram there. We can add steps, we can delete different steps or connection between the different process steps. And then we can change it, we can enhance it within other process information, and then scope it again, this new custom solution process, and use it next to the best practice content in our implementation project. So the third and last pillar is the integration with third-party tools. So we have an open API available, which you can use to mass upload diagrams. So think about a partner who has his own process content, industry specific, for specific customers. He can bring them and easily upload them through the API into the Cloud ALM and use them then next to the best practice content in the implementation project. And what was mentioned already yesterday, that we are now working together with SAP Signavio on an integration, a standard integration of both tools, and we are planning to release this in November. So Daniel already mentioned, but before we start modeling our own custom solution processes in the SAP Cloud ALM, we first need to understand the structure of a solution process or custom solution process. So it's the same and it has the same structure, but we call it a custom solution process when we are in the process offering, and we call it a solution process as soon as it's in the app of the processes, where you use it in the context of the project. So, and this structure comes from the SAP Enterprise Architecture methodology and adaptation of the TOGAF framework, specifically for SAP. And as SAP is going more, and SAP and its customers going more and more into the cloud, yeah, the standard content gets more and more important, yeah, also the best practices, and those are structured in this way, and we in Cloud ALM are following the same way because we want to offer you the best practices to use them in our system. So just quickly, the custom solution process consists of a solution value flow, which is a high-level business overview of this process. You can connect this then with the single BPMNs. We have the solution process flow, where you can think about a collection of solution process flow diagrams. So several diagrams can be collected within this solution process flow. And then we have the solution process flow diagram, which is really the detailed BPMN diagram, which can be used, or which is showing really the steps you have in your business application from SAP then available. And last but not least, the solution activity, the process step, known as task from BPMN, but in the SAP world, it's the solution activity. New is also for us are the relations, so you now also can assign process hierarchy nodes, what Daniel just showed for the solution processes. You can assign those process hierarchy nodes also on the custom solution processes. And we will extend this really soon, promise, with documents and test cases and so on. So customers and partners have own process content in third-party tools, and we want to make it as easy as possible for them to import or to bring this content into the SAP Cloud ALM. And at the moment, we are offering here 3 different options. The first option is the import of a BPMN directly from the UI, what I will also show in the live demo. It's kind of a 1-by-1. So if you have 20 processes, you need to click 20 times and can import them. But you could also use the open API, the custom process API, for a mass upload of those, or mass import of those processes. Also there we extended the API so that updates are also now available. For Q4 now, we have planned the standard integration with Signavio, and I have another slide on that. But there's also a fourth option with the selective data transfer. So if you have your processes in the solution manager, then with the selective data transfer, you can move all your diagrams, all your library elements, then over into the Cloud ALM. There is, for Q3 is already something developed, something released, and same then for Q4 and beginning of next year, I think we are done with it, and then you can move everything over into the Cloud ALM. So, what's also new are the libraries. So we have a new library management service in the Cloud ALM. It's already available today on the Launchpad for the applications. Also soon this week, hopefully, the configurations will be offered. And what's important to know is that the solution activity library will be part of the process offering. This is just because we don't want you, if you're modeling a new diagram, that you need to jump to another service. This should stay or will stay all in the process offering. But for sure, we are having the same guidelines for all the libraries. So to give the user then one experience, so he does not see if he's kind of in the process offering then or in the library service. And also here to mention, everything for the selective data transfer, if you are having your library elements in the solution manager, that you can move them then over as soon these libraries are available in Cloud ALM, and it's planned to have all libraries available in Q3 and Q4 this year. Also recommendation to the product owner, Axel Schulze, who has his session today at 4:45, if you want to know more about the libraries. So before we go to the live demo, I want to talk quickly about integration and import of processes. And I have mentioned that we have an API here available. So from Cloud ALM side, we have this clear API strategy, which means we want to offer customers that they easily can integrate with their third-party tools, but not only customers, but there are also a lot of partners out there who have own tools in this area available, so they can use the API to integrate with that. And on the other hand side also that they can easily import their content from external sources into the cloud ALM. What we are also trying is that when we make new functionality available in the UI, that we as soon as possible, and I'm talking here about few weeks later, have it also available in the API. So this is where we really try to run after. We do not make it all the time, but definitely for sure we are really concentrating. Because we know how important this API is. Also the Signavio colleagues are using it. So all the APIs are on the Business Accelerator Hub, and for the process management we have the custom process API for process offering, what I have just mentioned, and for the scoping then the process scope API. So just a few words on the standard integration of the SAP Signavio Process Manager and the SAP Cloud ALM. And we are working together with the standard development of SAP Signavio, with the product management and development of the standard product. So we will integrate both standard tools. I'm not talking about any consulting solution or community solution. The customer needs to have a Signavio license in place, but when he has that, he can use the integration without any additional cost. And you can use the QR code, which guides you then to the roadmap item. So planned for this November, sorry that I cannot demo it today, but I think my colleague Frank showed a nice video already yesterday. Planned for November is, what's important to know, you have this one-to-one relation. One diagram is in Signavio. You click the sync button, and this will then create a solution process in the cloud ALM with this specific scenario, with this specific diagram. On Cloud ALM side, we will lock the we will lock the modeling of the solution process so that you cannot change it anymore. Because for any functionality where we integrate with Signavio, we always want to have one leading system. For sure, there will be workarounds how you can unlock the modeling, but we think if we really integrate both tools, it's much better and easier for the user if they have, for the specific functionalities, then one leading system, and for modeling it will be definitely Signavio. Update will also be possible in November already, so there will be a link back to the diagram, to the Signavio diagram, where you can do the changes, and then you trigger the sync again, and it gets updated on the Cloud ALM side. As a next step, we have planned a workshop on the different artifacts. So let's say the whole enterprise architecture methodology, what I mentioned in the beginning, so that we kind of align on the same data model. And I think as soon as we have kind of this same data model agreed on, then we can much faster also deliver more functionality for this integration, which is so highly demanded by all the customers and partners. So for post-MVP, we are already discussing on the process hierarchy, that we have sync on process hierarchy level, that we have a sync on the solution activity library level, as soon as we have published it in Q4, but also a synchronization of the requirements so that you kind of have a much nicer experience for the fit to standard workshops if you're really using both tools together. And just one hint, because in our customer influence portal, we get these requests on standard integration, but you can be definitely more specific. So if you have really specific needs on this integration, please post them in there and we will definitely check them. So because I talked now so much about Signavio, let's come back to Cloud ALM and to the live demo. So for the live demo, I want to show you the adaptation of the best practice processes, the import of a process from the external, from an external source, the assignment of solution components, and so on, and also the scoping back then in the processes app. So I think you can see my screen. So, and as we don't have a lot of time, I will do it a bit quicker than normally. But then we have a few more minutes left for Q&A. So we also have here the J44, what Daniel used in his presentation. So we are here in the processes app. We have in this process in the status realization. So we go to the solution process flow, and you can see we have here the solution process flow, J44 with 4 different solution process flow diagrams. And we want today only concentrate on this one here. So what we could do here, we can copy it over into the process offering. We could copy over the full flow and get 4 diagrams, but for the demo, I think 1 is just enough. So just 1 second. So let's just let's just change the name to ALM Summit, then I can find it later as well. And the first thing I normally do after changing here the title is that I save it. What I can, but I'm missing my save button, so just 1 second. Okay. No, it's not automatic saving. You need to click the save button. Just 1 second. Ooh. Okay, and then we are here in the diagram, and we can click the edit button in here and then just add a new task to it. But what we can do as well, and I'm sorry, but I'm really struggling here with the view. Okay, we only have a few minutes left. I have created this BPMN file also in the Signavio tenant. I will upload it in here. Because of my browser settings, I cannot show you kind of the other tabs, but I added just here another task, another solution activity to it. So you can see now that we have those 2 different ones, the one coming from the best practices and the other one what I just have uploaded, which I changed in Signavio. Then we can jump over here to the solution value flow. At the moment, we are only taking over the diagram. Soon, next year, we will copy over the full solution process so that you get all the information and also solution value flow information with. But what we can do, we can just add here the business activities. So we have the J44 and the J44A. The J44A is the new one, which we have changed in Signavio. And then we also can just click in here and assign the diagram. So, and we can save it. And if we then click here, the plus button, we jump over here to the specific diagram. So in the process hierarchy nodes, I will just assign one process hierarchy nodes. Exactly. So we can save that. And then if we go to the general information, for example, we can add here the tags, what Daniel also has shown, the ALM Summit 2024, we can add to it. We can go add here also now the solution component. So as it's coming from S4HANA public cloud, we need to search for S4HANA Cloud Public. And here take the software application, and then it is connected to the solution component, which will be also important when we get the applications, the executables, which you know from the solution manager, to identify which solution component this process fits to, and then also the different solution activities that they get the right executables. We can give it an external ID, tag already mentioned, and also here we can add some accelerators, for example, the link back then to the Signavio. And what's really important then, after we have saved everything, that we publish it, and as soon as it's published, we can go back to the Processes app. And important in the managed scopes is that you have scoped the custom solution scenario. Then you find here for solution scenario the custom one. And if we click edit scope and search for our demo process, the J44, it is there, and then we can scope it, and the scoping, and jump into it, and then you can see our value flow diagram. Also all the information as tags and so on are available, and we can jump also here then from the solution value flow to the solution process flow. And that's the end of my demo, and we have a few minutes left for your questions.
So it's me again, hello. I have a question towards the fit gap, fit to standard workshops. So let's have a situation where we have a process that is going over multiple countries, over multiple rollouts. So we have one requirement for the initial MVP rollout and then successive rollouts per country. We have a relation between requirements to releases. So how would we structure this? Would we then generate 20 requirements for that one solution process? Is this even possible? And assign them to various releases? Or how do we do more complex, not with one bang release workshop?
Yeah, I think this fits to this kind of template approach, what a lot of partners and bigger customers are requesting us. And we are discussing it definitely, but we will need a little bit more time to offer this kind of template approach. What you can check is, for example, the APIs. So I'm in discussion with partners who try to kind of use the projects and then copy via the API those projects and then reuse them. And I think this could be possible, but I'm not 100% sure if there's everything available through the API, especially when we look at releases. But for example, for requirements, kind of from my perspective, everything is there, but I'm not sure about the project part. There's another session on the task management. Maybe also there you can ask the question, or you can also write it directly to one of us, and then we can take care of it. Yeah, I think you can. So there's a booth on the on the using of Gen AI. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
So you could like basically a little bit tweak the project, maybe with additional sprints or something like that. But it's like what was mentioned with the solution concept at the keynote. That's one of the topics. So really to support it on the list, so to say.
Could you quickly explain in a comprehensive way the difference between business process and solution process and what the purpose of this mandatory field business process is?
So Daniel showed it on his slide. So we have kind of in the enterprise architecture methodology, the business side, where you also have then the business process, which is more high level normally. And we have then, on the other hand side, the solution process side. And solution process is really all the steps what you have in your S/4HANA system. And the business process step, yeah, is more on the business side. It can be definitely the same, but it does not have to be. So from the past, solution was always part, or kind of the IT took care of the implementation and so on. And then you had the business, yeah, for example, the sales organization, and they used, they kind of modeled their own processes, and this then had to be translated into the solution. But now in the cloud world, you normally should always start with the best practice with those processes and then check if it fits for you. And so this is kind of where this is kind of coming from. But for us, for the cloud ALM, it's always the solution process is the important one. Maybe when we look at Signavio and even to LeanIX, then the business side gets more and more important, and especially the enterprise architecture side, yeah, and then Signavio with the business process side, where you have business experts, yeah, really drawing their processes, and then you need to translate or you need to check how this fits then to the best practices. Because in on-premise, you could easily just move it over. You could say to the business side, you collect all your requirements, how the process should look like, and then you can configure it in the on-premise world. But in the cloud world, you will get challenges then with your upgrades.
Okay, follow-up question. You introduced that there will be a library for the solution activities.
Yes.
And the business process and also the business activity are similar elements as the solution activity?
No, it's something different. It's,
but
it's in the
nice
solution value flow.
This nice button, delete unused elements on the top right corner, where you only can access these three elements there.
Exactly.
So is it foreseen that there will be library elements for all these three?
It will be an own view, an own UI for the solution activity, and as soon as we release in quarter four, you will see it that there's this difference. And we even are discussing kind of getting rid of this mandatory business process, as at the moment we are not using it. Yeah, but we need to check how this fits together with LeanIX and Signavio and how important it is for the customers. But okay. Thanks for the thumbs up.
Other questions? Otherwise?
You mentioned that you will support more and more assignment possibilities to the process hierarchy elements, right? So like requirements, processes, test cases, and so on. Will you also introduce a process hierarchy node owner at one point in time so that we can pull them, for example, into approval workflows, for instance?
You see in my face, not currently on the roadmap or so, but I think it's especially at the end reflecting an overall governance, so to say, you have in a process organization. Valid point, absolutely. So
we should write an improvement request.
Influence request always good, but note it down. If we don't have more questions, I would say thank you very much.